So I'm in some real estate clubs, one of them being Grant Cardone's. And the one thing he's always preaching is the deal, the debt, the equity. Deal would hit, I would call the broker, I'd be in it within an hour, I'd see it, I'd have an offer to them within 2 hours.
So how'd you fund your first property? What loan did you get?
I just identified people who had steady jobs. As much as I needed them, they needed me. Real estate investors qualify as well, but typically real estate investors only get like 10 loans.
Oh, so there's a limit for real estate investors.
Yeah, my buddies, like they're all maxed out on their 10 loans. So
10, so they all have 10 properties each.
They have a lot more.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we got Chris Luna on the podcast.
What up, what up?
Thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get into your backstory a little bit. You're a multifamily syndicator. You own and manage $40 million worth of real estate in San Diego. Dude, how'd you do that at such a young age?
I appreciate that. You know, the 40 million is what I calculated may have gone down recently because, values of property, and I have been selling off some assets. So I'll have to recalculate that number. But you know, as of just a few months ago, I was up towards 40 million. How I started my business was actually in the single family home sector. I went to San Diego State and I was buying, I went to San Diego State, I graduated, and what I realized was there were no homes or rentals available for students. Yeah, it's just a very kind of smaller community. There's a freeway and main streets in and out. So basically what I decided to do was to buy single family homes and build detached accessory dwelling units in the backyards. So I would have 5 bedrooms in the front, 4 bedrooms in the back, rent these things out for $1,200 a room. So as you can imagine, that's $10,000 to $12,000 for a parcel.
Wow.
I was buying these homes for $600,000, $700,000, building 80 for $200,000, cash out refinance, the whole BRRRR strategy. I did that deal by deal, partnered with friends and family, and in the span of 3 years, I built a lot of equity and created a lot of value for my tenants. And from there, that's when I start transitioning into multifamily as I wanted to scale the business out. But that's kind of my backstory on how I got started, just deal by deal is what I always tell people.
So that was in 2019, right?
Yeah, in 2019, I bought my first 2 properties in 2016.
Oh, wow.
Took some time off. From buying because I was in credit card debt from 16, 17, 18. And so I just couldn't buy anymore. 2019, I got my real estate license, and that's when I was able to start tying up properties myself. It'd give me confidence to move fast, quick, tie up deals, go and raise the money from friends, and then close the deal. So 2019 is kind of when it really took off.
Okay. So when you said that you were in a bunch of credit card debt, 16, 17, 18, right?
Yeah.
So
it was bad.
How did you start purchasing property just the next year later?
Yeah, so in 2016, when I bought my first property, it's kind of I didn't know Ryan Pineda at the time.
Okay.
But it's funny, we have the same story. 2016, I maxed out all my credit cards, $40,000 in debt.
Wow.
And it was probably 0% interest for a little bit, but then it shot up. But I used that $40,000 to buy my first rental property with 2 other partners. And, you know, we paid $600,000 for it, added some value. And I think 5 years later, we sold it for like $1.6 million. Wow. So we did pretty good on that. And I'm happy I took that risk. I knew I wanted to be a real estate investor. So I took the risk. It, paid off for me in that sense. But yeah.
So if somebody would want to start the way that you did, because it sounds like the way that you did it, anyone could do it. Because you were already, I don't know, like almost $100,000 in debt. Sounds like a lot of credit cards, right?
Like 40,000.
40,000 in debt. 40,000 in debt. So someone that doesn't have that much debt, they could have a little bit of advantage that you have, right?
Yeah.
So how can someone right now do the same thing that you did?
Yeah.
What would be those steps?
So I'm in some real estate clubs, one of them being Grant Cardone's. And the one thing he's always preaching is the deal, the debt, the equity. The deal is superior over everything. It's all about the deal. So if you're new to the game, if you're trying to think, how can I get involved in real estate? It's find a good deal. If you could find the deal, you'll find the debt, and then you'll find the equity. So someone starting off, I would say talk to brokers, talk to agents, and find good deals. Because then you can negotiate with partners and kind of be the sweat equity, and then go find people who have money, limited partners, and they can put up the money. That's what I did.
So where do you find these brokers? Because like the audience that we have right now, they're just starting off, right?
Yep.
So where do they even find? Is it like a meetup? Like what specifically goes on?
Would you say for single family homes or multifamily or both?
Let's start off with single family because that's what most people can jump into right now.
Yeah. So with single family homes, I was door knocking.
Really?
Yeah, I was door knocking in my neighborhood, 92115. And also I'd get calls because I'd own a home and like a neighbor would own the house to the left of me and she'd call me and say, hey, I know you own quite a bit in the neighborhood. So word of mouth is good, door knocking. I've done flyers showing, just closed up the street, 688,000. Like, call me if you want to sell your property. Those worked for me. I was in the college area community council, so I got a reputation as being a good owner in my neighborhood. But for someone watching this, I would say you're going to want to talk to agents. They have the data and the knowledge specific to zip codes. And that's the fastest way to kind of to get deals is talk to agents and just do your research. I'm on Zillow all the time. I set on notifications for the 92115. This is back when I was just buying a house a month straight for 3 years. I would set notifications for 92115 on Zillow, and they would text them or email to me whenever like a new house would hit. I'd have it sent to my phone. So that was speed. It's all about speed. So a deal would hit, I would call the broker. I'd be in it within an hour. I'd see it. I'd have an offer to them within 2 hours.
Okay. And then you start building those relationships from Zillow, which is a free application, right?
Yep.
It's online.
Yep.
How important is brokers to someone that's looking for a deal?
Yeah. So I would say in single family homes, when I was working with agents, I would never do a deal with an agent twice. It seemed because there's so many agents that, I was always working with someone new. Now, multifamily, brokers are the name of the game because the brokers control the deals, they have the data, and you do one deal with them and you close, they'll keep calling you. So in July 2022, I closed about 10 million in apartments in Pacific Beach.
Wow.
And that put a good track record on my name to where all these agents or brokers started calling me. So in multifamily, I think it's a little more important to have those broker relationships.
Okay.
Single family home, I don't know if it's as important, but you still have to like know what you're talking about so that the agent feels comfortable that you'll actually close.
So cast a wide net and then choose the best ones that fit you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. We talked about brokers, how important they are to finding deals, right? So when they find a deal, how would they figure out if it's a good deal or not?
The broker or the investors?
The investor.
Yeah.
Because the audience could just take what the agent is saying, but how can they know themselves? Like, how did you figure out how to underwrite deals?
Yeah, so we have this good old, just kind of trusted calculator we use. It's an Excel spreadsheet. My buddy Garrett Reuter, shout out Garrett. He got me into the game and taught me a lot. My buddy basically, we have this calculator. It just shows basic cash flow, cash on cash return. So as an investor, I want to know how fast am I getting my cash back? If I put 100 grand in and I'm making 25K a year, it takes me 4 years to get my cash back. I want to know that number. So the cash on cash return, it's a formula. People watching this, they could look it up. There's a lot of calculators out there.
Okay.
That's important, cash on cash return. But in multifamily, there's another.
What is cash on cash return?
If you put 100 grand into a deal, what cash are you getting back annually? What is your return on the cash in? So it's a percentage, it's a ratio.
Okay. So for example, you put 100 grand into a house and then you're getting back 10 grand annually. That would be like a 10%
return. Yeah.
10% cash on cash.
And that would be good. I think in my early days, we were getting crazy numbers, 15, 20%.
Wow. That was in San Diego?
San Diego State.
Oh
yeah,
my
really
gosh.
good. Now the market's finally caught up. People are hip to the game, and it's like if it's like 6, 7, 8%. The deals aren't as good, so that's why I've shifted away from it.
So that's how you underwrite your deals if it makes sense from a cash flow perspective, right?
Cash flow is like super important because cash flow is what's going to get you through the ups and downs. If the market pulls back, values go down, like, yeah, in your head, your property value has gone down and your net worth has gone down. But if you're still cash flowing, who cares? Just keep it 2, 3, 4 years and then refinance or sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is just as long as you have good debt on it and that number of cash flow when you bought it in the beginning stays the same, whatever happens in the market, whether it's going up, going down, it's pretty much recession proof and you'll count on that money.
Cash flow will get you through the tough times. Exactly.
Cash flow will get
Cash
you
flow is
through.
king. And
Okay.
another thing on that, real quick. So there's also like cap rate's another metric that I look at.
Okay. So what is cap rate?
Cap rate is if I paid all cash for a property, so say there's no debt on it, what was my rate of return? So it's
Okay.
basically a way to look at, it's an easy way to kind of compare apples to apples, like different markets, and look at different markets like San Diego. I was buying stuff at a 3.5 cap.
Wow.
Yeah. If you go to different markets, it could be 4, 5. It just varies.
Yeah. So what I've seen, let's say in the Midwest, I do own a property in the Detroit area right now. Those cap rates are at like 10 and 12%.
Yeah, high.
Which means like say for my cash on cash in San Diego, what's an average cash on cash?
Cash on cash. I mean, investors should be happy with 6%. Like
6%?
that's better than stock or having the money in the bank.
So in Detroit, there's a lot of investors getting minimum 18 to 20%. So why does that happen though in the Midwest?
Yeah.
Can you explain?
Yeah, so in Detroit, the problem on why I would be just a little hesitant about it is because who is the whole part of reason for real estate is to make money, right?
Right.
And provide value and a nice safe place for tenants to live. But who do you sell that to in 10 years if Detroit doesn't bounce back? So what's the problem is the exit strategy. So it's good cash flow,
Right.
and you're building that cash flow up. But if you keep it long term and you have no desire to sell, then yeah, it could be a good play. But in real estate, I'm always looking for like, who is the buyer when I want to exit in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Okay.
So when I buy stuff at the beach, it's like someone's going to buy it.
That's a trophy property for sure.
Yeah, it's just more expensive, so that's no fun.
Yeah.
But I just know it's a little safe. But for you, the cash flow is nice, I'm sure. That's
Yeah. So speaking of expensive properties, right? So now we've talked about who to talk to, which is brokers, how to find them, and how to calculate deals, right? So right now, all right, you got all that done, but how are you going to buy this property in the first place? So how'd you fund your first property? What loan did you get? All that stuff.
Great question. So we went over the deal, right, and how to get it. So the next is the debt. Now that's tough right now because interest rates are high, right? They're 6, 7%. And that makes the cash on cash less, which makes it not. So that's why there's not as many transactions right now. But when I was buying deals early on, I think rates were around 5.25%. Like they weren't horrible, they weren't great. They're just, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, man, I'm just happy to buy real estate.
Right.
So people get caught up in the rates. They're like, I don't want to buy anything. Rates going down, rates going up, all this stuff. I think it's important to just buy real estate and wait. So, but yeah, back to your question, the debt. What I did was I was in charge of finding the deal and tying it up in escrow and sending the earnest money deposit. That just got us into contract.
So what is an earnest money deposit?
Yeah, so typically it's anywhere from 1% to 3% of the purchase price.
Okay.
And that's going to be money you send into escrow, an escrow account.
And what is an escrow
Yeah,
account?
yeah. So an escrow is basically the middle person between the buyer and the seller to make sure that we stay in terms of the contract, whatever we wrote up and agreed to. They're kind of like the middleman, making sure. So we send the money to escrow, they hold that. When we close escrow, that money is released to the seller.
Okay, got it. So earnest money deposit is your show of good faith that you're going to buy
gonna
this
close,
property.
yeah.
You're going to close.
Yep.
And the escrow is someone that is a third party that makes sure that all the title's good, all the money's straight, and everything's going to be secure.
Yep.
Everyone's going to get whatever they want that they signed on.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it.
So, yeah, well, we get so my job was to basically get control of that deal. Once you have control of the deal, you go to the debt. And what I would do if I was just starting out, I would find good business partners who are W-2 employees because they typically they're going to have a better, easier time qualifying for loans. As real estate investors, we typically write off a lot of stuff to reduce our tax liability. So it's harder to qualify, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you go and find someone who works at a hotel, she's been there for 2 years, she has a nice steady $8,000 month pay stub paychecks. When she goes to the bank, she's going to qualify pretty easy. So that's what I did. I just identified people who had steady jobs, and as much as I needed them, they needed me. So it was a kind of a good relationship. So I'd have them go get the loan, and then so that's how we got the debt on most of my properties on the come up.
So people working regular 9-to-5s with W-2s can be a big help to an investor.
That plus a good, credit score for single family homes. You're going to want a decent
it.
credit score. Multifamily, not as much. With multifamily, they're looking at the actual net operating income. They're not looking at credit scores. So they're looking at how much does this apartment complex produce in profit per year. So just depends on what route you're going.
Got it. And net NOI is net operating income?
Yeah, so that's basically your profit. What like if it pulls in $1 million a year and your expenses are $600,000, your profit, it actually, expenses are like 35-40% typically. So expenses could be $400,000. The NOI would be $1 million minus the $400K. $600K would be your NOI, net operating income.
Okay.
That's going to determine your debt.
Okay.
Like what you can get on the property.
Got it. So we found the deal, right? Now we found the debt. And what's the third one that you were talking about?
The equity.
The equity.
See, this is where everyone gets it wrong.
Okay.
Everyone wants to start with the equity, and it's their bottleneck. They think, oh, I don't have money. I can't do a $4 million deal, or I can't buy this. But if you have a good deal and you have the debt in place, the debt's your biggest partner. The debt, you're the bank. People don't think of them as a partner, but if you're putting down 30%, where's the other 70% coming from? It's coming from the bank, right? So technically they're your partner. Now the 30%, the equity that you need to come in with, good, like equity is going to chase good deals because people want to make money, right?
Right.
Limited partners, like doctors, chiropractors, they want to make money on their money and they don't have the time to do it.
Okay. So what's limited partners?
So limited partner typically would be, like I would be a general partner. I'm the one doing the work, managing the tenants, managing the property manager, collecting rents, all that stuff. Like I do the work. The limited partner is more of here's a $100,000 check. Chris, go close the deal.
Okay.
So that they're kind of silent partners. They give input, but they're more so just money.
So in a real estate structure, right? There's a GP, general partner, and there's an LP, limited partner. GP is the person that's doing all of the work, and the LP is the silent partner, which could be, like you said, lawyers, doctors, people with high W-2s.
It could be anybody. An LP could be another real estate investor. Ryan Pineda could be an LP on one of my deals.
Okay, got
it. When you're trying to qualify for a loan, W-2 employees are what I've seen work really well for me. Real estate investors qualify as well, but typically real estate investors only get like 10 loans, so they're kind of selective on which properties they're using their loans for.
So there's a limit for real estate investors.
Yeah, my buddies, like they're all maxed out on their 10 loans. So
10, so they all have 10 properties each.
Oh, they have a lot more.
Yeah.
But they've maxed out.
Wow.
That's with Fannie and Freddie. With multifamily, it's endless.
So Fannie and Freddie is a type of debt that you could get, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
It's a government agency debt.
Government agency debt. It's backed by the government, right?
Yes. Yep.
So now we're talking about the equity, right? So you brought us through the whole process, okay?
Actually, I have something. On the equity, the pitch is really important. You can't be like begging for money. It's got to be like, look, I got this cool asset. It's going to do 7% cash flow. I already lined up the debt. I got control of the deal. We're going to close in 30 days. I need a check, for, you can do 100,000 minimum up to $1 million maximum. I've already raised half of it. So you want to sell it like I'm closing this with or without you. Investors will be like, okay, this guy's the real deal. He's closing. He's got, another thing is look for an operator who has money in the deal. When I do my deals, like I'm going to close either way.
Okay.
I'm putting money where my mouth is. Like my money's in, we're closing.
So that's what people interested in being an LP, that's what they want to see in a GP.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to close this right now
Either
with
way.
or without you with my own money.
Grant Cardone used to do that back in the day. He still does. He'll close it himself and then bring investors in for the ride afterwards. So that just shows you the level of confidence he has in the deal. And I try and operate the same way when I can. Otherwise, sometimes you got to close with your partners. It varies.
Okay. So when you're raising equity, right? What's something that you could tell someone that's going to be the biggest difference for them to help their LPs over the edge of investing with them or investing with you?
Something you're asking for something to help GPs show LPs that they should go with you.
Yeah.
Experience. How many cycles have they? Like, how many deals have they seen all the way through the cycle? That's from acquisition to disposition. So buying and selling it. Amount of deals they've done. Transparency is huge. I keep hearing that word, and it's good to have transparency. I would say look for operators who have money in deals, and just someone you want to work with, and someone you want to root for. Like the syndicator, the person, the GP doing the work. It's like a jockey, right? Like you're betting on the jockey and the horse to win the race. So, just make sure you're confident.
And the horse is the real estate property.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yep.
Got it. We got the equity, right? So when you were talking about the things that you need for the LPs to be confident in you, it sounds like you would need a partner, right? Because if you're starting from the beginning, you found the deal, but maybe you don't have the experience or went through the full cycle that LPs will believe in you.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
It's a great question. So sometimes you need to bring in a KP. A KP is a key principal.
Okay.
And the lenders will look to see, like, say I couldn't qualify for a $10 million loan because I didn't have enough either assets to back it up or enough cash in the bank. I would have to go and find someone who is worth 10 million or someone who can basically co-sign on the loan, a key principal. That can come up on bigger deals. That key principal would then become part of the general partner team. That's what he brings to the table. He would be, on whatever I get on the GP side, he would get a portion of that. That's something that definitely comes up often.
Yeah.
Key principal. Yeah.
So a key principal, you usually find them through networking.
Networking,
right?
Yeah.
So going to the events like the one that we just went to, right?
Exactly.
That'll be very valuable to a lot of people.
You'd be surprised how many at these events I go to, like business owners who like crushing it, 5 million a year, but they don't have time.
Right.
They don't have time. But they see you at these events, they know, like, and trust you, and they're like, okay, let's do a deal. Yeah.
So you're saying there's money out there for sure.
Yeah, money wants to make money. Money chases money, and it's out there. Going to like business conferences where there's business owners, that's where I've seen.
So, when you're trying to get an appointment with one of these LPs, right, potential LPs, what's like an elevator pitch that you give them?
So like I'm in real estate clubs and like I'll go and pitch a deal, or I'll get on stage and pitch a deal, and just kind of get my face known and liked and trusted. But once I I'll hop on a Zoom call or phone call, I'll just go through the deal.
Okay.
Usually if the deal makes sense, they'll do it. One time I had an investor drive down from Los Angeles. I showed him around this deal I was working on, and he wanted to put in upwards towards $1 million. And I had just met him, through a real estate club.
Wow.
So really just kind of showing them your track record and walking them through what you've done, I think is super important. People are like visual. They want to like see what you've done. Like, what do they say? They say people don't listen to what you say, they listen to what you do, or some quote like that.
Well, that's a great
something
saying.
like that.
Listen to what you do.
Yeah. So even just by posting on social media, I know it might seem mundane, like me posting my construction side or me remodeling, but hey, this is my life. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And the more you can do that and be omnipresent in your potential investor's mind, then when they do come up on some money, then potentially they'll invest with you. So like, it's not just like pitching them in the elevator that one time you have 30 seconds. You're always pitching.
Okay. So when you're always pitching, so you would say something like, they'd ask you what you do, right? So something what I would think would of saying would be, yeah, I help business owners get double digit returns through real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're like double digit returns just because in the stock market, the average is about 8%. And when they hear double digit,
Their
it's a
ears
little
light
different.
up. Yeah, I like
It's a little
that. I'm
different.
going to take that one.
Yeah. So you'd say something like that.
Yeah.
And then they get that interest. And then you say, yeah, sorry, I don't have that much time right now, but we could hop on a Zoom and we could chop it up and see if we could work together.
I like that.
Got it.
Always learning. See, that's what it's about. I got to work on my elevator pitch for sure.
Okay, so now we pretty much went through the whole process, right? Is there anything else after that?
That's it. But I was telling Brandon this yesterday. It's important, like with real estate, it's what happens after the ink dries. So what that means is, I sign on the loan docs, sign my life away, $8 million loan, cool. But like, what do I do after that? What am I? Yeah, am I following through? Am I staying on top of my property manager to increase rents, to add value? Are we increasing the value of the property so me and the investors are making money and building our equity? So it's just following through on what you said you would. And it's tough in an environment like this, but always being transparent and doing what you say you're going to do. That's what has led to the long-term success.
Okay. So once that ink dries, that's when the real work starts.
That's when the real work starts.
So with your operations, okay, the ink is dry now, right? So what happens after that?
So on a deal I have in Pacific Beach, 1009 Hornblende, it was completely vacant. Seller wanted nothing to do with it. We bought it, closed it, and day one we did new plumbing, $85,000, $95,000, new roof, complete remodel. Took us about 3 months. We got it all stabilized. Currently, I believe, we are leasing out some of the last units, and I'm in the process of refinancing the loan. We pay back our first, because we did like a bridge loan, kind of like in flipping where you do hard money to acquire.
Okay.
And then now we're getting into that permanent debt.
That permanent debt.
That's the best part. That's the best feeling when like you get that permanent debt on it. It's stabilized. It's cash flowing. Everyone can just like breathe at that point.
Bridge loans and hard money loans, those are short-term debts?
Yeah, so on a hard money loan, you're going to see interest rates from anywhere from 9, 10, 11, or 12%.
That's a lot of interest.
It's a lot of interest. What I like about hard money is often some of the best deals I'm going for get very competitive, and the sellers know they have a gem. So how do you get that deal? How do you beat someone who's competitive? You just close faster. So hard money, they have mountains of money ready to lend. It costs, you got to pay to play, but often that's a strategy I use to get properties. So you use hard money to acquire. The other option is a bridge debt, which is less on interest rate, probably 7% right now, 7.25. It's shorter. It's like 2 or 3 years. You could stabilize the property and then refinance out of it.
So it's built to stabilize a property.
Exactly. Hard money is typically a little shorter. It would be like 6 months to 1 year.
Okay.
A little shorter on that. So far, I've done hard money. We've been in it for 6 months.
Okay.
On this last deal.
So with the last deal that you did on Hornblende,
yep.
Right? How much did you acquire that for?
So hit the market for 2.5.
Okay.
It's 3 blocks from the beach, and we closed I think at 2.395, so like 2.4 million.
Okay.
I got that deal by calling Clark at Cushman in Wakefield. I didn't know him. I saw the deal hit. I loved the location. Called him. I said I'll be there tomorrow. Showed up, pitched myself, and he represented me and the seller, and that helped.
Nice.
Having one agent represent both sides helps less friction. It's just it's transparent. He knows what I'm looking to do and what the seller's looking to do. We closed that deal in about 30 days. Something for the listeners, I 1031 exchanged into that, and what that means is I sold a property and I rolled the profits into it tax-free as the down payment on the Hornblende property.
Okay, so you saved a lot of money in taxes.
Paid zero in taxes.
Wow. And how much would that profit would have been?
We walked with like total for like 200 each, I think. So me and Jacqueline. So probably walked with 700K.
Wow.
But for our half, the 350,
Mm-hmm.
because only two partners rolled the money, the other partners wanted their money.
Oh, got it.
So I think it was something like that. So yeah, to pay zero in taxes was huge.
Yeah, so capital gains on that would have been like at least 100 grand
Yeah.
off for 700 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we just rolled it into the bigger deal, and that's 1031s work most of the time. Sometimes it's kind of like gun to the head. You have to like make a move, and you could make a bad move. So I don't
Yeah.
always suggest it.
Yeah, there's a timeline on that, right?
Yeah, believe it's 180 days to close on a
Mhm.
deal, but you have to identify something within, I think it's 30 days, maybe 60.
Okay.
That's the tough part. Identifying something in 30, 60 days, that's the gun to the head. The closing in 180 days, that's easy.
Okay, so you kind of want to find something beforehand before you start the process, right?
Yep.
Or at least talking to some agents or brokers.
Yeah.
Okay. So you bought it for 2.4, right? Just a little bit under there.
Yep.
And then you put about 85 grand into it.
2.4 was the purchase.
Okay.
The down payment was about 500K.
Okay.
The
500K.
loan on it was 1.9 or something like that, 2 million, somewhere around there.
Mhm.
And then we did a construction like holdback loan, and the hard money company lent us the construction money to remodel it. So we put maybe 350,000 in,
Okay.
and then we refinanced it. The latest appraisal as of last week was, I think, like 3.9 million.
Wow.
Yeah, which seemed a little high in my opinion, but I'm like, all right, that's cool.
That's good for you.
Yeah, it's good for us. I think it's really worth like probably 3.6 or so.
Yeah.
But then from there, the new income we have generated through leases gives us our new value and our new loan.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we pay back the old loan, which is set to close in the next few weeks. And that's it. On to the next deal.
Wow. So that's 2.4 plus 350, right? So you've made a little bit over $1 million on that deal
On of equity, yes.
of equity.
Yep.
Wow.
If we were to sell. But the wealthy, they don't sell. They just keep, I mean, sometimes you got to sell to
Yeah.
trade up. But in a perfect world for me, I would just want to keep acquiring assets and never sell. But it's tough because you always want to trade into bigger and better. You want to grow. That's what it's all about. Growth, bigger deals.
Yeah, because there's always a cap to where you could push the NOI, the net operating income, right?
Yeah.
And then once the potential is there, that's pretty much all you could get except appreciation, right?
Exactly.
And then that's when you got to trade up.
Yeah. On this deal, it was 5 units, but we have a garage where we can build an ADU, accessory dwelling unit.
Okay.
So that's a huge value add.
And then you guys are going to do it, or
Oh, yeah.
you
I started
already
plans and permits on that.
Okay, got
We're
it.
going to build that as soon as it's done. And same thing I did at San Diego State. I'm just taking it to the beach now.
Wow.
Might go to North Park next. I know you
Oh,
got some stuff in North
yeah,
Park.
I got some stuff in North Park, but yeah, maybe we could team up on there too.
Oh,
Right.
that's what's up. I'm in.
Yeah. So, would you say that that's one of your best deals that you've ever done?
The most recent? Yeah. No, I wouldn't say the best deal. It was a little challenging because of
Okay.
interest rates. It actually was not super smooth. It went well, but some of the where I've made the most money would be these San Diego State deals.
Okay. Can you break down one of those deals for
Yeah,
us?
yeah, definitely. 6175 Berry Lane Drive.
Okay. We got the address in there
yeah,
too.
Sandy. Yeah, that's one thing I like about real estate. You can't fake it.
Okay.
There's a track
Yes.
record on it. 6175 Mary Lane. We bought it for I think 700,000. Put in 200,000 on the ADU, and then 50,000 on the remodel. So what's that? We were all in it for like $1 million or something.
Yeah, 950.
And then I sold it for 1.7. Wow. Walked with. I own 50% of that, so I took that money and then I rolled it all into a property. 5053 College Avenue. Bought that one. It was my first property I bought by myself. No partners.
Wow.
Satellite Investments LLC. We closed it. That one I bought for 900, and then I basically wholesaled it to a developer for 1.7. That was my first big payday.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So you okay? Explain that again. So you bought it for 900 grand.
It was 925 or 950, something like
So
that.
you bought it for 925,
Mm-hmm.
and you wholesaled it for 1.7. What's a wholesale?
There's two ways to wholesale. From
Okay.
A to B to C, meaning, you close it twice, you buy it, and then you sell it. That's what I did.
Okay.
Other typical wholesales are you assign you get control of the property and you assign it to a new buyer, and then you make a little lift, that spread. It could be 15,000, 20,000. In this case, I closed the deal. I owned it. I paid the mortgage for 9 months, and I knew a developer wanted it, my buddy Keith, because he owned the next two.
Oh, so it was a play for him.
Yeah, and they're gonna
Huge play.
they're gonna make a lot of money. This location is sick. It's College Avenue in Montezuma. Like, you're in the heart of San Diego State. A little sad that I had to let it go, but I sold it for, I think, we were in contract for 1.7, but they lent me some money to do another deal, so I like gave them a reduction in price for 1.6. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm winning either way. It's all good.
Yeah.
So 1.6 minus my $700,000 loan on it. I think I walked with like 900 or a million, somewhere around there.
So $1 million, did you have to do anything to that deal?
No,
You didn't do anything
I
with
paid
it.
the SDG&E bill every
You
month.
paid the SDG&E
Yeah.
bill was like $100 or
Yeah.
something like
I
that.
had tenants paying $5,900. The debt,
Wow.
the debt service was like 57. So I cash flowed a little bit of money. Yeah, that was my best real estate deal ever.
So making almost $1 million doing nothing.
Yep. It's all about location and knowing who your end buyer is. I'll tell you how I got that deal. I was working on a Sunday. I was driving around San Diego State, and I saw them putting up a sign, a for sale sign. And I had to gave it a double take. I was like, what is that? And I saw it. I called the guy immediately. I was like, I'll buy this property right now. He's like, sorry, man, I can't rep you. I was like, no, you got to rep me. Like, let's just get this deal done. And the seller was like, no, it's coming to the market next week. Like, sorry, buddy. Good luck. I was like, called him back. I was like, send him an offer for, I think he was going to list it for like 875 or 9. I was like, send him an offer for 925.
Wow.
He sent the offer, docu-signed it, and I had it in contract later that night.
Wow.
30-day close, and I was scared. I was like, dude, am I going to be able to close this deal? It was my first time like doing something by myself.
Yeah, this is the first one that you did by yourself,
Yeah.
right?
But in the back of my head, I knew I was selling 6175, and I think I was going to walk with like 266,000. So I said, this is perfect. So we closed that deal, rolled it into this, got hard money on it.
Okay.
So, and then that's it.
So basically everything that we just talked about prior,
Yeah.
you did the same exact strategy.
Yep.
Wow.
For the people listening, I think confidence is super important.
Confidence.
Because the brokers and the sellers, everyone can smell if someone's confident. If they're confident, like this guy's going to close, then you're going to have more success in real estate investing than someone who's not confident. So if you have confidence, that's the name of the game. And confidence just comes from repetition.
So you got to keep practicing underwriting.
Yep.
And pretty soon with all that practice, confidence just comes naturally.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still trying to get more confident every day. Like, I feel like a little fish now in this multifamily game. I know we're talking about this stuff now, 5 units, 8 units.
Yeah.
We come back in a year from now and like I'll be like trying to do like a 50 unit deal and like still feeling like,
The little fish,
yeah,
right?
exactly. I'm always trying to grow and like get to those bigger deals.
So always having that open mindset of just learning and trying to get everything that you can from other people. Right?
Absolutely. Just growing. All about growth in 2023. And yep.
So a lot of people love to talk about their successes, right? So what's something that you made a mistake on that you're like, oh, that hurts a little bit?
Oof, I got a good one.
Okay, let's
This
hear
one
it. Let's hear
hurt.
it.
I don't even want to share this one. So recently, Q4 last year, I went a little too big.
Oh,
Yeah. So it was an $18 million deal,
wow.
and I put up a big EMD to get the deal, and the debt markets got so tight, like during that time period from September, October, November, that it got tougher to line up debt. And the deal wasn't a great deal, but I love the location, so I got a little too excited. And I would say I messed up because the reason I got the deal was because I was like not non-contingent.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And I
so
would,
what is non-contingent?
yeah, so non-contingent is basically meaning like you have contingencies on why you can back out. It could be
Yeah.
appraisal, like say it doesn't appraise for enough.
Yeah.
It could be the loan, if the loan amount comes back low or you can't get the loan, or it could be inspections, like, there's the AC doesn't work or the roof's falling off. Those are reasons you could back out of a deal. And when you go into contract, typically you have 14, 17, 21, whatever, 35 days to have those contingencies. I went non-contingent, which got me the deal against a
Yeah.
lot of big players, but it ended up biting me in the butt because, I didn't close the deal. So that was tough on me. I'm not going to whine about it. You grow, you learn, and come back swinging into 2023.
Okay. So what did you learn from that mistake or being aggressive? Because being aggressive is always a plus in a lot of areas.
I got a little too excited on the numbers. I think I was overpaying for it. But they listed it for 17 million. I got it under contract for 18 million. 1 million doesn't feel like that big of a difference on the deal that big. But when it comes down to the debt and the debt service coverage ratio and what the banks will lend you, if the bank's only going to lend you 10 million and you got to go and raise that 8 million, that just got really tough.
Yeah.
Now, if I got it under contract for 16.5 million and the bank was going to lend me 12 million, maybe it would have closed.
A little bit easier on the raising side, right?
Yeah, so definitely a learning experience.
So what would you have done the next time around if the same opportunity came up?
I would say when I made the offer, as much as I wanted to get the deal, know what you can actually pay for the deal. If my drop dead number was like, dude, I'm paying 16.5 and that's it.
Yeah.
Be happy with that. And that's it. Don't just like bid it up to bid it up. Unless you have that cash in a bank and you want that asset, or it's a 1031 exchange and you got to deploy that money by the end of the year. Like that's the game I was like acting like I was playing, and it helped get the deal.
Right.
But I shouldn't have been like that. I should have been like, I'll pay 16.5. Take it or leave it.
So don't chase the deal. Just make sure it works from the start.
Yeah, exactly. And then talk to the debt provider prior. Also, another thing I could have done is ask the listing agent, hey, have you guys had anyone underwrite the deal yet? Because typically they'll have a lender who's underwrote the deal and I can just use their people. And then if it comes back as it was too expensive or they can't lend me enough, we just put it on them. Hey, you referred me to that lender. Yeah. That's on you. Mr. Seller, I now need a price reduction.
So the next time this comes around, you're not going to have that problem at all.
No, you learn from every mistake. And I mean, looking back on it someday, like, it is what it is.
So why is failing so powerful?
She's got to fail to succeed. Like that Michael Jordan commercial. You ever watch that one?
Which one was that?
I failed over and over and over again. Yeah. I've missed 9,000 shots in my life. And then at the end, he goes, that is why I succeed. You got to fail. But more importantly, when you fail, you got to get up and just keep going.
I like that.
Yeah. A book that I really like that's helped me on mindset is Tim Grover's Winning.
Oh, I love that book.
Oh, man. I've listened to it on Audible like, I don't even know, but 10 times probably. It's good.
Yeah. When I listened to it, it put me in a different zone. Because when he talks about Kobe.
Mamba mentality.
The Mamba mentality, Dwayne Wade, there is just a different mentality you step into. Where I work this hard, and that is why I win. They have the confidence of winning.
Yep.
So what are your goals for 2023?
2023, 2024. The next 12 to 24 months, I want to get to 100 million assets under management. So that's just going to take building a team, which is what people are talking about at Ryan's conference. Like I've been doing everything myself. I have architects, subcontractors, and property managers, but I need a team. I need an asset guy. And that's my big goal, 100 million assets under management.
Well, I look forward for you to grow it, man.
I appreciate that.
Exciting.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
All right, last thing. Where can people find you?
You can find me at chrisj.luna. That's CHRISJ.luna on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. What else are the kids on these days? YouTube, everywhere. chrisj.luna.
Well, thank you, Chris, for being on the podcast, and we'll catch you guys later.
Peace.